Is it that necessary to be friendly, to smile at each other? Now we're coming to space, from Earth to space. Clouds over the space program. Why clouds? Mind you, this is after 3 or 4 successful landing on Moon. Why clouds? Okay, here's 2 pictures. Left, Soviet cosmonaut walking into Kremlin Hall for a ceremonious reception. On the right, 2 American cosmonauts casually watching TV. On the top, Soviet Politburo talking to the space pilots on orbit. On the lower picture, Lyndon Johnson with, I think that's Glenn, no? An American space pilot. Now, even if you don't know anything about the theory of information, the comparison, mind you, this is a French magazine, it's not a Soviet propaganda. The comparison of the size of the pictures gives you the message already. What is more important? What is more impressive? Here, a picture from Soviet newspaper Pravda. A Soviet schoolboy compares 2 replicas of Soviet Soyuz spacecraft and American Apollo. Friendship in space, détente, right? Pay attention to the size of the spacecrafts. They are almost identical, right? Now this is what the size, almost actual size is. The American spacecraft is on the left. It's almost twice as big as the Soviet one, right? Okay, this is a Soviet picture. This is an American picture with true sizes. Okay? You say, well, Soviet media, of course, tries to diminish the successes of the American space program. Now, this is an American media. On the left, a Soviet moon walker or Soviet probe on Moon. On the right side, an American space Volkswagen, as they say. It actually was used on the surface of Moon. The sizes are almost identical, right? Wrong. The thing on the left is the size of a tea kettle. In other words, about 100 times smaller. But Time magazine does not explain it to the readers. An average person in the United States has an impression that the junk on the left is as important and as successful as the masterpiece of technology produced by American mind and ingenuity. Okay, you remember Skylab? There was a time when it just about to fall down on the United States or any other country. And the Pentagon was very worried. There were pictures, there were discussions on TV. Some strange characters even started joking about it. See the Skylab target. A lot of emotions expressed about the failure of United States Skylab. A lot of bitter opinions were expressed about the unnecessary spending on space research. But when Soviet nuclear-powered satellite fell on the territory of Canada, there was no protest demonstrations, there were nothing like that. Nowhere in the world. Ask yourself why. According to some information, this was not a satellite at all. It was a flying atomic bomb. Canadians spent something like $15 million just to find the junk on their own territory. Thanks God it fell in inhabited areas of Canada, in Northwest Territories, where only penguins live. Or what if it fell on Toronto? A flying nuclear bomb? Oh boy. But no protests. Here, Soviet ambassador Anatoly Dobrinin happily looking at the linking of American and Soviet spacecraft. In where? In American Grounds Control Center. This is a picture from Time magazine. This is also a picture from Time magazine. Soviet citizens are watching the same moment, linking of spacecraft. Think about it. Compare. Here, happiness. On the right, American representative of the NASA and Dobrynin, very happy. That's how ordinary Soviet citizens think about the farce in space. They understand perfectly well that linking spacecraft in space is just a fake. It doesn't mean anything. Look at their faces. They are sad. A dream was realized. Was it worth the price? Pessimistic question, right? After all the successes of American space program, the media tries to instill in your mind a doubt, pessimism. Why? Oh, this is a frog. I don't know how much you know about frogs. I'll tell you that a frog can see a mosquito only if it moves across the area of its vision. If a mosquito quietly sits on a grass blade, the frog doesn't notice it. That's the attitude of American media. They do not notice problem unless it moves, and moves close to Hilton where they station. These are the people who file a suit against me if I call them liars, but that's exactly what they are. They've been lying to you for years and years about the situation in Vietnam, in Russia. They were selling commercials, deodorizers and cars, and they sold you a rotten information, disinformation of what happens in the world. They have a vision of frog, but they look like semi-gods to you. And if I challenge their credibility, probably the people will call me a paranoid or a very nasty person. I may be a nasty person, but that's my opinion. I was a person who used to take these people for a ride when I was working for the Soviet side. Okay, if you don't believe me, here, one of the most conservative newspapers, in this particular case it's a Canadian newspaper, the Globe and Mail, editorial page. Nothing special, right? The malaise of liberal democracies, saving Bhutto, former president of Pakistan,